Good morning, my name is Craig and I'm here to look at a few problems with the underfloor heating at Simon's. So here we've got the underfloor heating set up with the control box here, the Solflex, and we've got the boiler here. Now the boiler is not on, there's no call for heat, it's got a current temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. So if we go over to the kitchen here, we can see we've got a call for heat here, so that should activate some of our heads and start our underfloor heat pump going. And indeed it does. You can see we've got 6 heads there, and 2 of them, number 4 and 6, are open. The blue indicates that they've opened, and we've got our pump on, which is great. So this is working pretty good. We should also have number 5 on, so I'm going to investigate that. And then we should also have the boiler on. So what I'm finding is the boiler, the underfloor heating only works when there's a call for heat from another source. So for example, if the radiators upstairs were on, or if the hot water was on, which kind of defeats the point. You want the Anyways, I think that's simple enough. And I will do another video once we get a little bit more information. Hello, next installment. So we've got a call for heat in the kitchen. We're going back to where the underfloor heating lives, and now we've got 3 heads up. The old head was replaced, it was faulty. So now we go to the boiler. We still see that there's no activation of the boiler to try and heat it. So I went back into the wires, and you can see here that the zone valve that controls the underfloor heating upstairs is actually totally disconnected. So that's what I'm looking into now. So now I'm upstairs by the cylinder where there's a number of other controls. You can see there's 2 zone valves there, one for the radiators, one for UF, underfloor heating. The underfloor heating zone valve is not wired up, so when the underfloor heating comes on downstairs, this valve is not activated. To investigate that further, I went into the wiring here, and there's no wiring connection for that valve. The orange wire is just terminated by itself in a solo block. So I then investigated a little bit further about the flexible cables that run between the boiler and the connection box here, and I can only see one of them actually making it all the way. So I tugged on them a little bit, and this one you can see is a little bit loose. It pops, just keeps coming out of the wall. It's not connected to anything, and comes out. Doesn't look like that's ever been connected. So we now have the system working again, and I'll go through what was done to allow that to happen. The wire that was once out of this and just going nowhere is now hooked up to the junction box, and that links downstairs to the underfloor heating console, which supplies a switched live for our underfloor zone valve, which in turn then sends a signal back to the boiler and switches the boiler on once the valve is open. And then before doing that, this junction box had to be taken apart and interpreted. That rheostat had to be taken off the wall to chase the wires back downstairs. And if we go downstairs to the underfloor heating, that rheostat had to be taken off and figured out how it wired in, because that was a normal one as opposed to the one that I just showed you that was upstairs. This junction box was taken apart and interpreted. This the center console was all taken apart and redone slightly, and this is the new wire that was put in to link to the old wire that was just left in the fabric of the building, and it was very hard to find. And then these two boxes have been taken apart and interpreted, and the wiring in the boiler has been rejigged a bit. And now she all works good.